can't believe it. Football, bloody hell. But they never give in. And that's the winner.
Welcome to the American Red Devils podcast. I'm John.
I'm Alex.
And we're bringing you the best Manchester United news from this side of the pond.
Woo, sir. How we doing? Manchester United is back. Football is back on the menu. At least Manchester United football is back on the menu. Euros are over. Copa is over. The drama that pours out of either cup is indicative of what kind of cup they are. What a hilarious thing that is. But Manchester United is back. Preseason started on Monday in Norway, sir. And it continues in Scotland on the weekend. What not to like?
How do we do? Break it down.
We didn't do great. We'll get into that in a bit. You know, the first game back of preseason, it's always a lot of heavy legs. They were heavy. Warm day in Norway. And guess what? My recommendation, they made some good changes in EOS headed into the season. The 5-game preseason versus the 8 games hell march that we experienced last year, in Murtaugh's last hurrah. You don't play a team that's in the middle of their domestic season when it's your first game of the preseason. That would be my recommendation. They came out flying because they played the game 3 days earlier and they're halfway through their season. And United looked like Casemiro looked like he just got off the beach of Mykonos, eating crab legs, bro. He looked so good. They looked so out of shape because they just started preseason and it's hot and these guys weren't. So they got cooked. I mean, they got 2023, 2024, Manchester United cooked.
I mean, we're talking about preseason, right?
Of course, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying,
what are we talking about? We talking about practice?
It's practice. It was a good run out. They were up for it.
Practice. We're talking about practice.
That's it.
We're
That's
talking
all that
about
matters.
preseason. Still, you don't like to see shitfootball.com, and it was there for everyone to witness next time. It's a weird preseason with the Euros, right? You have a lot of players out, a lot of youngsters rotating in, which was good to see. You'd like to show up a bit more than we did because it was pretty brutal. I mean, the Rosenborg, who's not even good in Norway, could have hit 5 or 6 past us. And for any type of Manchester United player, that's a tough day at the office. And for United to just broadcast that worldwide and say, hey, preseason kicks off here, maybe next time do it behind closed doors, do a scrimmage, something. I felt like that was a bad combination. Like you said, they're fit, they're ready to go. We are clearly coming back from Mykonos. And there was a huge disconnect between the performance, and it looked bad. It was sloppy. We barely got the ball out of our half. They were cooking us, and maybe it's the PTSD from last season, but that's what shit teams did to us all last year. And every Manchester United fan, and including myself, I said preseason doesn't matter at all. No matter what, Liverpool, we beat them, doesn't matter. Rosenborg, we get cooked. It does not matter at all. It just makes you feel a little nervous.
I ain't going down the nervous road. Listen to the man in the mirror.
It was shit.
I'm not disagreeing, but it doesn't matter. Listen to the man in the mirror. The man in the mirror said, preseason don't matter. Preseason don't matter. Because here's the deal, bro. If we had played Real Madrid in wherever we were in Norway, it would have gone better than it went. Or pick another top team, Manchester City, because guess what? All their best players, like ours, are at the Copa or the Euros, so they're unavailable. And we're coming back from, holiday in southern France or wherever. So they got to run out. We didn't learn a lot. I guess the backup keeper looks decent, but to be fair, they hit the post 4 times, and I was watching that. I was laughing and laughing. Partly because I'm not going down the road you're going down yet. But
I'm not down any road. I'm just spitting facts. And what I saw was not a great product on the field. And it's probably more of a PR issue than it is a United are going to be a shit issue. And I have a feeling that, Ten Hag, after the game, he was slating the lads. He wasn't shining up a turd like last season. He was calling it straight and said this wasn't good enough. And to have your first preseason game, even when we played high school football in Jersey, anytime you played a preseason game, it was never good enough from a coach's perspective. They used that to get shots at you and make you practice more and all that stuff. So this is just fodder for Ten Hag and co. to double down, get more serious with the lads, and run them harder, right? I mean, that's just all it is.
That's a good point, though. He was straight, at least. That's something. I think the big takeaway is how much fitness matters in top flight football. It's these guys are not better than us, but they are running circles around us. And yeah, that's not good to see. But we got to set the standards early. And luckily, bro, it could have been imagine if it was 4-0, people would actually be freaking out. So we move forward. We've got Rangers. They're, on a normal European schedule. We're playing in Edinburgh, even though obviously they're the Glasgow Rangers.
All right, we better perform then, right? Where you're making
don't
your
matter,
bed.
bro. I'm just saying, hopefully it's better. I don't care. Season doesn't start until the 10th of August when we play Manchester City in the Community Shield at Wembley Stadium. So that's when the season starts.
We have twitched our ass on the bench. Do you understand what I mean?
Do you understand what I mean?
Does he understand what he means?
Not-
What does he mean?
We're a little nervous, we're a little nervous here just seeing that display, given that we're trying to build off of last year. Why don't they just pull a scrimmage against like a pub team, have something easy going? But Ten Hag and Ineos need to sort that out. But sir, quick PSA for the podcast before we dive into the actual match recap. Support the podcast. We're now on YouTube. Please check out our YouTube channel. You can search American Red Devils and find us. Like, subscribe, do all those fun things. Also, comment on the video. You have a chance to have your comment read out on the pod and be the Muppet of the Week. Our current Muppet of the Week at Jason Hein 7140. Usually shameless, often clueless, and always biased. Perfect for my morning commute after a game. Been listening for a few years now. Good to finally put the faces to voices. Thanks for the Muppet takes. Looking forward to the new season. I'm trying to keep expectations low. So let's go for the treble and Ballon d'Or for Kobe Mainoo. Muppet of the Week. Thank you, Jason. What a great comment. And thanks to everyone who has liked and subscribed to our YouTube. We really appreciate you guys. Again, small-time operation. We're trying to get this thing off the ground.
And it makes a huge difference, like John mentioned. Liking, subscribing. We're seeing very good momentum with the launch of the YouTube channel. Who'd want to look at me? Sweating. We're still ironing out the kinks, kind of like the first preseason game of the season. But really, it goes a long way. Like, subscribe. Do everything you can, and you know what? We appreciate all the support because it's just John and I sweating it out in the pod room, talking about the greatest football club in the world, Manchester United.
No, absolutely love this club, and another great way to support the podcast, sir, is Patreon. Please check out our Patreon page. We don't have any sponsors on the pod. We're not hitting you with ads that you don't care about at all. We are supported and 100% fan-backed by our Patreon members. Check it out. There's tons of extra benefits for our Patreon members. Patreon.com/AmericanRedDevils, and we do a behind-the-scenes episode every single month. And if Patreon's not your thing, check out our store. We've had a ton of orders. We have scarves, the Eric Ten Hag Red Army scarf, the Munich Air Disaster Memorial scarf, one of my favorite ones, sir. Will never die on the back. Tribute to the Munich Air Disaster. What a scarf. Everything you buy on our store supports the pod 100%, goes back into this small-time operation. So please check out our store, order a scarf, and check out our blog, AmericanRedDevils.com. Great fan-generated blog content. We got a great article up here about Ashworth. Again, support the pod. Support the pod. Keep supporting. Support more, sir. What do you say?
It goes a huge distance, keeping us going, keeping the lights on, keeping us sweating. That is what it's all about. We got to keep sweating through the summer to sweat it out before we see Manchester United back on the pitch. John mentioned a bunch of great ways with the pod. He mentioned Patreon. He mentioned the store. He mentioned the website. Great way that goes a long way that doesn't cost any money is to write 5-star reviews on iTunes or Spotify. And if you do so, we're giving away free merch. All you have to do is write a 5-star review or, like I mentioned, on iTunes or Spotify. Send a screenshot of that review to AmericanRedDevils@gmail.com, and I will personally pick, pack, and ship some free ARD gear, send it right to your door anywhere in the world, sir. Anywhere in the world.
And bring the banter. The funnier, the better. We love the cheeky banter here on the podcast. Let's get into breaking down our first preseason game. That's right. We're talking Rosenborg BK 1, Manchester United 0. Noah Emmanuel, Jean Holm scores in the 93rd, but look at the stat sheet. Look at the stat sheet. Is this last season or am I dreaming here? 22 shots for Rosenborg, 5 for United, 7 on target to our 2, 55% possession. Field tilt was all the way in our box. They did have a lot of fouls, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But this stat sheet is what makes me twitch on the bench. It's exactly the way Crystal Palace was. Fulham, Wolves, go down the list last year. It looked exactly the same. And I know it's preseason, but you hate to see the stat sheet look like this.
No, you do. I'm not going to make any excuses, but you don't want to ever see Manchester United get beat up. Partly because we're looking forward. We're not looking back anymore. We're excited about the future. It's a new dawn at Manchester United, and last season is not acceptable. It's not acceptable to finish 6th, miss out in Europe, and then make it, surprisingly with a great victory in the FA Cup and play the shit football that we saw for 90% of the season. That is not acceptable. The stats don't lie, man. We got dominated, but at the end of the day, bro, also, you made a good point. It's look at the fucking foul count. They fouled us. They had 15 fouls, and we had 4. And that's because there's a reason you never heard of Rosenborg, bro. We ain't going back to Rosenborg because these guys were playing like it was a final of the Champions League or the World Cup final. They were playing Brazil. They almost took out Casemiro's leg for 3 seasons and would make him unsellable. It was a little borderline. One of the guys could have gotten sent off for a second yellow. So United got cooked, but I think Rosenborg should chill out and as I said to you in JV football, bro, this is practice. Relax, relax, bro.
No, totally. That was a huge component. We're not going back. That's
no way.
That foul on Casemiro could have done his knee. It was aggressive. It was like you said, United's coming to town. They're kicking us all over the pitch. It's calm down. It's just a friendly. I know it's mid-season for them, and it's United, and they're nobodies. That dynamic is just gonna happen.
It's a bad deal.
What do you expect? It's going to men's league soccer. There's no chill pickup game that exists. You and me were traveling in Argentina right before the 2014 World Cup. We're we'll go play a pickup soccer game. The hostel was putting together, and then it was us versus the most aggressive Argentinians you've ever met. It was us and some drunk English guys, and these Argentinians were 2-footing us, dude. And it's there is no chill friendly game for the beautiful game, in my opinion. People kind of go way too hard and get a little macho, and Rosenborg, it had that vibe. Let's get into the lineup. It's great to see Wheatley start. We talked about him as the youth to watch breaking through in this preseason. Hannibal goes at number 10, Rashford on the left wing, Williams on the right, Cass Mount midfield, Murray at left back, Evans, Fish, and Wan-Bissaka, and Vitek had a hell of a game in net for United. What'd you make of this lineup for the manager? A lot more youth than we thought.
More youth than you would think. More youngsters, than you would expect to see in the first game. But, there's a decent squad in here with Rashford, Mount, who had previously gone to the World Cup, Casemiro, who went to the previous World Cup, Evans, perennial stalwart at the back, legend of Manchester United, hopefully retiring at the club. So if this was a normal preseason game, like I said, with another team that plays the same calendar that we do, and then they're all coming back from vacay, no, this should be a no big deal. It should be a game, but the biggest takeaway was, Jesus Christ, they look so out of shape. I got a broken foot. I got this boot. That will be me when I try to run for the first time. That was my takeaway. Vitek had a nice performance, I think. Got saved by the post. I thought Mount showed some action. I liked he was switching stuff around, but they had a point to prove, sir. And I think that was the biggest takeaway. Is holy shit, Rosenborg is up for it.
No, absolutely. And I felt when we were in the sauna with Ligt, the Croatian footballing legend in Berlin, he was the assistant coach for Croatia right before they got cooked by Spain, and he was telling us how good Spain was in the sauna.
He was right.
He also said that Croatia went to Miami to play a friendly against some MLS team, and they went out and like got boozed up the night before, and they showed up and got absolutely torched on the pitch. And I had a feeling this preseason game had that vibe. Like no one from United came out expecting like a big like fight. I remember there was one point Johnny Evans like flipped over one of the Rosenborg players, like landed on his head. It was like they found themselves in a bar fight out of nowhere, and that was the theme of the day. As far as the youngsters, I thought Wheatley did good. He had like one shot on target right at the goalkeeper. He didn't have a lot of time, but I did like his run into space. Mount had a great pass on him. You know, I'm a big fan there. And then shout out to Toby Coyer, who came on. I felt like he made things tick in the middle of the park in the second half. It did get a little better. And then Habib Ogunai. I don't know, sir. What do you got? What do you got for me on that pronunciation?
It's all you, buddy.
You got to try it.
It's all you, buddy.
Ogunai?
I don't know. We'll find out.
The young right back. I felt like he actually played very well when he came in. So those are my two that I was shouting out. Harry Amos, the guy that we were bigging up, he got nutmeg. Looked like literally,
kid,
like,
bro.
yeah, I know, young kid, but he definitely got cooked out there. So it's a wake up call for a lot of the veterans and the youngsters, but we hope to see improvement against Rangers.
I thought Ethan Ennis showed some promise in the second half. I was a little disappointed. I thought Hannibal would show more, pep. Vitek, as you said, he made some decent saves. We got saved by the crossbar and the post a couple times. But, the takeaway from this is I'm hopeful that, I'm not hopeful. I know it. Think when they flew back to Manchester, Erik ten Hag is putting these boys through the paces. Like, he is running them out. They're running all week. It's super hot in the States. I have no idea what it's like in England at the moment. But that's my expectation. Like I would expect, before we jump into the Rangers game, you got to see a better performance, at least just like a better level of fitness after an additional week of training. So you would think, right?
No, and let's jump into the interview with Ten Hag. He took it serious. The players might not have, but Erik ten Hag, he was like, "Hey, we gotta wake up, boys." All right, a bit of an audio issue here on the pod. I don't know why we're not getting the Ten Hag interview, but you can translate what he's saying, sir. Hey, we didn't play good enough. We were no good. It was a tough game.
Yeah, he was. We watched it before, so it's funny that it's not working now. But he hit it straight. He's like, they were giving him like the MUTV kind of like batting on a curve question about it's about the run out, and he's like, it's all about the performance. He didn't sugarcoat it. So, the takeaway when we heard Erik ten Hag speak, you take our word for it, he kind of took it on the chin. It was like, you have to be better. This is Manchester United. Like, the standard has risen. We have to rise this, we have to carry that standard up and set an example, and that's just not good enough. So, for the first preseason game where really it is about fitness, he owned up to it. No excuses. Changed Erik. He's still wearing the sweaters. But
all right, I figured it out. It was.
Going to ask what's the best thing coming out of this game.
Yeah. All right, we got a little technical difficulties here at the podcast. The browser tab was muted. We're running it back. We do it live here,
and now you can hear for yourself.
Erik ten Hag. What do you think?
To concede right at the end.
No, the result is not secondary. But yeah, of course, we play pre-season, but at Man United there's a standard you win games. And definitely not lose games. Yeah. So if you can't win, don't lose the game, as we did in the end, last second of the game. But of course, the performance is more important. And the performance that was below standard.
And we were hoping to come through without any knocks, any niggles. I mean, it's very early, but it seems, other than a naughty tackle on Casemiro and Johnny falling, it seems like we might have come through unscathed.
I think there were so many bad tackles first half. I thought they stopped really big opportunities when we went in counter-attacks and we got some big knocks. But yeah, I think as I see it now, they will recover from it for training for tomorrow.
Ronnie, you were saying you're very impressed with Radek in goal?
Yeah. I was just going to ask what's the best thing coming out of this game.
He let's say he got the opportunity from the team to make some very good saves.
Yeah.
Because our performance as a team.
I mean, that says it all. The goalie is the man of the match for Manchester United. It was a rough go. in Norway. But, you know, there were some Muppets melting down in the Twitter sphere, but we're talking about practice. Like, calm down, everybody. It's like preseason doesn't matter at all. I saw us like win everything in preseason. LVG got fired that season. Like beat Real Madrid, beat Barcelona.
I remember.
We were just unstoppable, and we got destroyed in the regular season. I've seen us play horrible in preseason, play great in the season. Last year, preseason was a shit show, and the season was a shit show. So you never know what you're going to get. It's like a preseason's like a box of chocolates, so that's like all you need to know. So just cheer on the lads, enjoy the youngsters, hope we score some bangers. That's about it. Kick back, relax.
It's practice. I mean, it is. We don't want to keep going to that trope, but it's literally practice. It's about getting fitness. It's about making money, right? Spreading the brand. Obviously, like going to Scotland. We got Scottish fans. We got fans in Norway, all over Scandinavia, and we got a shit ton of fans in the great US of A. So it's about those two things, and I'm expecting a much higher result because we're going to be a week more into training and a little bit more fit. Some additional lads will be back. So, and then Rangers, like I said, they're also coming back from vacation. So a lot of reason to be more hopeful about Saturday's game up in Edinburgh.
All right, let's transition to it. We got a next match, sir. And we are here to break it down. You said it. Rangers Football Club. They hired Stevie G. We don't like him. That's all you need to know. Lifetime versus the Rangers. 1-3, drawn 1, all 4 matches in the Champions League proper. We haven't played them for 14 years, last time being November 24th, 2010. We won 1-0. We're not playing for keeps at all, so are you feeling nervous about Rangers?
No, like I said, we shouldn't feel nervous about any game until the Community Shield, because that's when it matters. It's about fitness. It's about seeing some of the youngsters, hopefully, like some of the guys, if they, maybe they make a name for themselves and not get sold and maybe stick around or get a loan. So I'm looking at you, Hannibal. I'm looking at you, Will Fish. So it's an opportunity for boys to step up. Actually, these are some of the most interesting summer friendlies because there were 2 cups going on, so most of like the starters are out. So it does give the odd youngster a chance to break through. Whether or not that will happen, we'll see. But like Kobe had a very good preseason last year, and then he got injured, and then he missed 4 or 5 months. So maybe one of these other lads steps up while Kobe's making it back to the squad.
All right, little history on Rangers. They are a professional football club in Glasgow, Scotland. The team competes in the Scottish Premiership, sir. Like I said, anyone who would hire Stevie G, not a friend of mine. They have won the Scottish League title a record 55 times, the Scottish Cup 34 times, and the Scottish League Cup 28 times. They don't have too many hitters in Scotland other than Celtic. Roy Keane went to play for them.
Absolutely. One of the big 2, right? So it's the Old Firm Derby, one of the longest standing rivalries in the world in terms of football, and one of the 2, basically the 2 big cities within Scotland. So Rangers is in Glasgow, the game is being hosted in Edinburgh, and they're only like 45 minutes apart by car, and they couldn't be more different. They're both terrific, but they are like polar opposites of each other. So that's probably why they're such big rivals. Also the proximity, also the 2 big cities. So big game, man. It's like this will fill them up. We're going to play at the stadium where they host the rugby matches for like the Scottish national team. So it'll be full up, tons of fans, not on a Monday, which was also preposterous for a preseason game. Like, I guess they're not working. So Saturday, I'm looking forward. This is more like it.
No, absolutely. Nicknames for the Rangers, the Gurs. I like that. The Gurs. Gurs. The light blues, the teddy bears. I don't know how you get Gurs and teddy bears in the same vein. Their home ground is Hampden Park, but like you mentioned, they are playing at the rugby ground against Manchester United. As far as their lineup, sir, they are playing the 4-2-3-1. Not a surprise. Butland in net. He actually was on loan at United for a little bit of a spell. Davies. Goldson center back pairing, Lawrence and Desser's up top, sir. Don't know much about Rangers. Not that worried about them. We're talking about practice.
We're talking about practice. So should be a good opportunity to get in front of, a lively crowd, lots of Rangers fans. I'm sure there'll be plenty of Manchester United fans in attendance, and just an opportunity to build on our fitness. Scotty McSauce, he's back in the fold. Does he feature? I don't know. Some of the lads who have been around since the Carrington reopened, they didn't feature in Norway. Maybe they'll feature in Scotland. So I'm looking forward to this game. 8 in the morning on the West Coast, 11 a.m. on the East Coast. So it'll be a great match. It'll be afternoon in Scotland. Like, what's not to like?
Yeah, like you said, Saturday, July 20th, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. It is preseason game 2. Can we show up, or are we going to be looking at a tough scoreline? I don't know, sir. You picked out the Rangers player to watch, James Tavernier, their leading goal scorer and club captain. He had 17 goals last season, currently valued around 10 million euros. I'm sure he's going to play like he's worth 150 million euros when he shows up against Manchester United on Saturday. But, we called out the Norwegian, who was pretty sharp up leading the line. We're calling it out here. Rangers, look out for James Tavernier.
Yeah, he's the club captain. He's the veteran of the crew, highest scorer of the team last year because he does take penalties. And, he's a seasoned vet of English and Scottish football. So he'll be ready to rock if he features. I don't know what some of his plans are, but yeah, the team's got experience, right? This is not some random team and I mean no disrespect. I'm giving them slightly more disrespect because they went so studs up in that preseason game. But Scottish are like they're a proper team. Sometimes play the Champions League, and play in the past. We've seen him in Europe in the past. We see players and coaches go there and fro. So this will be a good match. Part of the UK, right up the highway. So I've done that drive. I've actually done that drive, and it's a drive. So great game. This guy James, he'll be up for it if he features because he's the captain, and obviously, like you said, Manchester United's in town. They're going to be up for it because they got to impress the home Scots.
Unfortunately, everyone raises the bar when they play Manchester United. Sir, we don't need to go through starting 11s because it's just going to be a bunch of mashed potatoes. What's your score prediction against Rangers on Saturday?
I think it'll be a bit better. I think we get a 2-1 victory. We'll concede a goal. Maybe Onana gets a half. Maybe Vitek gets another half. I think Rashford gets a goal. Mason Mount gets the winner. I think Mount is ready to shine. I think he is coming in with an axe to grind because he probably feels like he should have been in that Euro squad even with his injuries. And he's out all year, and he wants, the boy wants to do good. I'm actually really bullish on Mason Mount because I feel like he's just like he's gonna be ready to go.
I'm gonna say 1-1. It's a cagey affair away up in Scotland, and you know what? We're talking about practice. Sir, let's get into some fan questions. Thank you for everyone who tweets us and gives us the cheeky banter to talk about here on the podcast. Jumping in, I love it. We got a meme here from Anthony at Ant6C. What's happening to this club? Smart moves, active early in the transfer window, not overspending. And it's a image of Ratcliffe over a grave, and the gravestone reads, Ed Woodward transfers, Eric Ten Hag hanging out there. Yeah, what is going on? I mean, we are literally doing multiple deals, getting rid of players that we should have a long time ago, like signing new players, it being really efficient with cash. It's unbelievable to see how also just the staff we brought in and seeing them do the work.
No, it's beyond belief. It's a little bit like I'm it's early. We got a lot of wood to chop still, but what they've done thus far from a buying and selling perspective, from a hiring perspective, it's just like I was trying to explain to my wife what was going on. I was like, it's like going from having the worst management, like literally some of the worst management in the league, to having the best in the world. Like they literally within 6 months were bottom 3 in terms of management from like a front office perspective in the EPL to like we can go pound for pound for any front office in the world. And I can actually say that now, and that's fucking wild. And they're going to make mistakes, but you need smart people to learn from those mistakes and not just make, the Ed Woodward step on the rake approach.
Exactly. I mean, these guys actually are serious individuals. Ed Woodward, where'd he get hired? FC Cincinnati looking for a new CEO. At Davey T _ 2 strikers up top this year. What do you think?
I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know because I think it's so dependent on what happens with the midfield. Does he want to play do we not get a CDM in because we got all these center backs coming in and he plays Kobe as like a holding and then two 8s or like a 2 10s where Mount and Bruno are kind of flexing up and down. I have no idea. So I think I would love to see Zirkzee and Højlund play at the same time just because I think they would complement each other well, and I think there's such different skill sets. But we haven't seen like a 4-4-2. When was the last time we just saw it? I haven't seen that since Fergie.
No, people will defend that way, but what will happen is they'll drop into 2 banks of 4, and the 10 and the striker will kind of float as the 2. But 2 strikers up top is just dead. You will not see that. You will see Zirkzee come on and play 10 with Højlund as a sub. That's why my commentary around signing Zirkzee was like a little, you'd rather have a like for like because doesn't fit into any traditional hole in the squad we're looking for. And then the like for like is Mason Mount for Bruno. And then it's not Zirkzee for Højlund, really. I mean, it can be. Or you could see him maybe play out on the wing and kind of tuck in. It just depends how Ten Hag wants to set up. But I doubt you're going to see like 4-4-2 with Zirkzee and Højlund, despite wanting to see that as a fan, because you can't sacrifice the creative midfielder or, we got cooked and we were playing 3 midfielders last year. I mean, it's like you can't play 2 in there. You're going to get overwhelmed. That's why nobody really does that anymore.
No, that's why it's hard to see how the painting coalesces like halfway in the middle of it, or not even in the halfway, because it's like there's so many moving parts now, and based on how much action we've already seen since the Euros ended, or even like, I don't know, let's call it the last 2 weeks, they could do a lot of they could do a lot. They're selling all these players. I can't even believe it. And we're going to get into that pod as well. But the kind of permutations of where we could end up at the beginning of next season, or even like a month into the season by the time players settle, could be fundamentally different than what we saw at the end of last season. Because I have no idea where it's going to end up. It's like, is Casemiro going to be here? Is Maguire going to be here? Is Rashford going to be here? Who knows how Erik ten Hag, like you said, is going to set up next year based on who he ends up landing with come September 1st.
And D _ Cole 18, Euro and Zirkzee done, supposedly still in talks for De Ligt, Tony, Ugarte, or Neves. And we still need to work on outgoings like Lindelof, AWB, Casemiro, Palestre, etc. If that's the ins and outs, where do we think we finish the season, and who's the top scorer? Does any striker hit 20 EPL goals? Great question.
We get the best questions from our fans. Lot there. I think we have a lot of work to do. I think I would imagine there's probably one more signing before it starts to be dependent on sales. But to be honest, we've already sold 3 players.
Where do we finish this season, sir? Where do we finish this season?
I still think we'll finish 4th. That would be my guess. I think top scorer is going to be
4th.
I think we're going to finish 4th. Is that okay with you?
No, I'm just saying.
Would you take that?
No, he said if you get De Ligt, Tony, Ugarte.
It's going to take them a while to settle, man. Remember, even when teams get it right, and they often don't, when they do, remember, we've talked about this before, and we haven't talked about this yet during this cycle. You see times when a team signs too many players, like when Spurs, after they sold Gareth Bale, signed all these players, and
no, of
all
course,
turned out to
you
be
can't
chumps.
do that. Yeah.
So you just you do want to add players, but you have to be thoughtful about how much of the squad changes over. Because if you change over so much, it takes a year to settle because everybody's, every other guy is new. So I think we'll finish 4th based on what I've seen thus far. Top scorer, I think, is Bruno Fernandes. And I don't think any of our strikers that we have in the house today hits 20 EPL goals. I think Tony could hit 20 EPL goals playing in front of Bruno Fernandes on a good squad.
All right, so this doesn't count as the official prediction because we
not.
do the season preview, so I can change.
Yes, and he will.
My prediction.
And he will.
But I think 7th. Honestly, I really don't see it. the team showing up like they did in Norway seems about right. And I think Rangers, I think we could get surprised against Rangers, and I think we're going to keep saying it's practice, and I think we're going to go into the season. And like you said, there's going to be a lot of new parts added. Like Lenny Euro is exciting, but like, is he ready to just do it week in, week out at the EPL level? Like, no. Like, so it's about building for the future. And I think I'm excited about that. And I don't need the immediate results in 24, 25. And I think as United fans, we've always thought, okay, this is going to solve our problems. We're going to improve so X much this year. And I'm just thinking, no, in 3 years, we have to be competing for the league. And I think we're headed in that direction, but I think there's going to be some pain along the way. And I feel it a little bit, and I see it a little bit, and I don't think anyone's hitting 20 goals. I pray Højlund does, because that, I really hope he kind of just becomes the guy, because we need guys. Of the existing crew, we need people to step up. But let's check with the Magic 8 Ball if United will make top 4 here. Shaking it up, sir. You may rely on it.
Woo! Maybe 4th place, bank that shit.
What about over 20 goals? Any striker hit 20 goals here? Shaking up the 8 Ball.
Not with current strikers.
Better not tell you now. That sounds about right.
Well, hey, Ivan Toney, I think Højlund will get there. I hope Højlund will get there. Not next season, but I think he'll eventually get there. Ivan Toney, with another guy with a point to prove. Like I said, playing behind Bruno Fernandes, one of the most creative players in the world. That guy could hit 20.
No,
because he's your starter, bro. As soon as you buy Ivan Toney,
but
didn't
Arsenal want Toney? Isn't there competition?
No, they
there?
Nobody wants to. It's because they wanted. Who do they want?
I thought they were talking 100 million for Toney.
No, they want to get rid of him because of the whole betting scandal, and it's.
But he just played for England and did well at the Euros. He has to
20 minutes.
You seem to think he's on sale, and I seem to think he's worth 100 million.
Osimhen's going to PSG, which is going to put water on the Rashford movement, because the one buyer is out. So the musical chairs are just beginning. Like I said, Euros and Copa are done as of this week, last week. So I think you're going to see a lot more momentum and things pick up. And that it's all based on who goes where, right? It's we'll get Ugarte, and then the other guy, Neves, is going to go to PSG to replace Ugarte, and it's all just it's musical chairs amongst the top clubs.
Totally makes sense to me. Look, that is the podcast. If you like the American Devils, check out our YouTube. Please like and subscribe there. Also comment if you want to be the Muppet of the week. Check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/AmericanRedDevils. Also our store, AmericanRedDevils.store. We have some hats and Garnacho scarves incoming. Tons of great merchandise. Everything you buy supports a small-time operation. And a little housekeeping item for the pod is we will be dropping the news podcast. So we're going to be splitting up these recaps and then a news podcast. We're going to keep that separate so that we have more time to get into all the transfer stories, all the United news. We find sometimes we try to squeeze too much into one podcast and it just becomes so long and we can't talk about all these interesting news stories going on around the club. So now we're breaking them in two. You get your match recap and preview. That is this format. And then we're going to be dropping a separate news podcast a day later. But if you want to get it a day earlier, you can go to our YouTube channel and it will be there. So we're going to drop both pods on our YouTube. So please like and subscribe. Help us get YouTube going. And then it will be coming out. The news podcast will be coming out on Friday, sir. That's when we're going to drop the latest Manchester United news. Thanks for keeping up with us, sir. Give us our top 10 downloads last 7 days.
Number 1, how you doing? How you doing? Chicago, Illinois, Dublin, Ireland, Los Angeles, California, Brooklyn, New York, Oslo, Norway. We love the Norwegians. We hope you're not a Rosenborg side fan. Shout out if you are. Well, it's good to know. Philadelphia, PA, Atlanta, Georgia, Charlotte, North Carolina, and last but not least, Melbourne, Victory. Appreciate all the American Devils listening week in, week out. We couldn't do it without you. Like John said, like, subscribe. Follow us on YouTube. We're making a push. It's a big push for the new season's right around the corner. Less than 4 weeks away to the Community Shield. And you know what? Sky's the limit for this Manchester United side. It might take a while, but I'm very bullish.
Sir, what a great week it is to be a United fan. On to Rangers. And you know what? It will always be 20 times.